Summit. I'm so excited that you've decided to commit to this and making it happen. And I promise you, you are going to get at least one incredible tip, one incredible strategy, one incredible thing for you to do and implement into your network marketing business on each day of this. We're going to be on for 5 days, day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And here's what I'm going to tell you, right? If you're watching this right now, it's available. But at the end of each day, it will go. So when that countdown timer that you see hits 0, that's it. You will not be able to watch this content ever again unless you, of course, you have the all access pass, which we'll talk more about that later on. So here's how it's going to work. I am going to kind of, I'm going to kind of like host this, and I'm going to share with you some extra tips, some tutorials, and some fun stuff. But I'm actually going to be sharing with you a lot of like all the interviews that I did with 16 different people from all over the world who have crushed it in the network marketing industry, profession, also from the generic coaching space, right? So I'm going to host it. I'm going to share with you the interview. They're going to give you their strategy. I asked them questions throughout the process. After that, I'm going to come on and I'm going to share with you some other different stuff. Then we'll go into the next interview and so on and so on. Who knows how long we're going to go for each day, but here's what I want you to know. I want you to pay attention, make notes, make this a priority, because I'm telling you, once it's gone, it's gone. So if you're ready, say I'm ready. If you're ready, get excited, because we're going to move in to our first speaker of the Content and Conversion Summit. So, first speaker has become a new friend of mine after we shared the stage at an Eric Warre event. We did like a social media workshop, and myself and Jesse Lee, we spoke on stage for like 16 plus hours. And this guy, along with his mum, actually shared this, was on the stage for about 2 hours, sharing all things Instagram. He's been able to grow a ridiculous following and a crazy huge business on all things Instagram. And recently, he's been using Instagram Reels to absolutely crush it. So I thought, who better than this guy, Brock Johnson, for me to be able to interview on how he's been able to completely dominate using Instagram Reels. So remember, grab a piece of paper, grab a pen, eliminate the distractions, and let's hear from the interview that I did with Brock Johnson. All right, Brock, so how's it going, buddy?
Awesome. So happy to be here.
All right, mate. So good to have you. So, guys, as you heard me say before, Brock is a beast. All things marketing, really, but Instagram is something that he's absolutely conquered. And I wanted to pick his wonderful brain on all things Instagram Reels. So, Brock, when did you start using Instagram Reels?
I started using Reels the day it came out, which this might shock a lot of people. August of 2020 was actually when Reels came out. That was when I hopped on the bandwagon. I had a lot of previously made TikToks. So I basically just immediately started repurposing. And so day one on Reels, I was posting Reels.
And were you dancing a lot in those TikToks?
It was at the beginning, it was almost exclusively dancing, because that's all my TikToks was dancing. So I just took all of those dancing videos and just put them on Instagram.
Exclusively dancing. I love it. So for the people listening, obviously in the network marketing industry, we're hearing a lot about Instagram Reels. Some people are new to it. Some people have heard that it's an important thing to do and have been using it. Some people have heard it's important and have not done anything to do with it. What sort of results have you seen yourself and the people who you work closely with using like Instagram Reels?
Absolutely. Yeah. So I can talk about my results first. In the last 30 days, I've posted 1 reel per day. So that might seem like a lot for a lot of people, but we can talk later about creating the content. But 1 reel a day for 30 days. I have over 13 million views from the last 30 days, over 40,000 new followers, Fraser, and over 5,000 new emails onto my email list. And a lot of those people have already converted into full-time customers and members of our membership.
So 5,000 emails. You say did you say 40,000 followers?
40,000.
That's crazy. And 13 million, 13 million views.
Mhm.
Oh,
And so that's me in the last 30 days, but I'm challenging all of my followers to kind of with me and start creating their own reels. And I have countless of examples. I think the most viral video of all of my followers, I had one follower who reached 17 million people with one reel. But besides that, we have countless people. In fact, thousands of people who have grown their following by thousands of people, thousands of new followers in just the last 30 days.
so, and that's insane. And I think I saw you post something about hashtag real growth.
That's the hashtag we've been using. Yep.
So I challenge you guys out there who maybe go on a 30 and 30 to use that hashtag, right? Hashtag real
Absolutely,
growth.
yeah.
And that is REEL growth, right?
Exactly.
I like your style. Told you he's got a beast of a marketing brain. So what would you recommend to someone out there? Let's think like about the person who is maybe just set up the Instagram account, maybe just kind of got going. How would you recommend that they start with Reels? Is it like a framework? Is it just screw it, press and hold and just do it? What would you recommend to people?
Yeah. So, Fraser, have you ever done ballet dancing before?
My grandmother used to, but I can't say I have.
Okay. So, if you were to go to a ballet class right now, or ballroom dancing or anything like that, how do you think you would do? Do you think you'd be awkward and clunky?
I would suck so bad.
Okay. So would I. Absolutely. So would any of us when we're trying something new. Instagram Reels is just like going to your first ballet dance class. Like, you're new to it. It's going to be rough. It's going to be messy. And so for someone who's just got on Instagram and is trying to figure out their Instagram Reels, I don't want them to compare themselves to my Reels or your Reels or anyone else's Reels they're seeing on Instagram, because that's just going to lead to satisfaction and I'm not good enough. So my tip for you, if you're just getting started on Instagram, watch a couple tutorials on YouTube. There's plenty of free content out there that you can learn just a couple quick tips. You don't need to invest in a course when you're first getting started. Just honestly, get some free content from YouTube and just start recording Reels, because the only way you're going to get better at Reels is by practicing. And then in terms of the actual framework for the video, what should the content be? Should you just do popular trends? Should you just dance? Let me start by saying this. You don't need to dance. Like, I might dance around and be goofy. That's part of who I am. That's part of my brand. That's part of how I show up on Instagram and on social media. But if dancing isn't your thing, by all means, you don't have to learn a step of choreography. You don't have to dance, but your Reels should generally, this is what they should be. They should relate to your niche, your focus, whatever it is that your account is specifically about. That's what your Reels should be about. They shouldn't just be about any random interest or passion or hobby that you have. They should be about your purpose and whatever you're on Instagram to accomplish.
So let's talk about that, because that's a great idea. How many of your 30 Reels that you did were dance based?
I think I would say probably of the 30, definitely less than 10, probably somewhere around seven to 10 maybe.
I love that. I love that because, mate, if someone tries to get me to dance, I move like a refrigerator. That's about as flexible as I am. It's not great. All right, so let's say that you were in the travel niche, because a lot of people who are in like the service-based network marketing like companies, they kind of always think like, yeah, but it's all right for the people in the cosmetics because they can show their product. It's all right for the people in the health and wellness because they can do the whole before and after. Like, what would be Reels that you would do if you were in like the travel sector? Would you do the whole like, don't you want somebody like?
I love that sound. That's a perfect trending one.
I tried to do the whole.
I got you. No, I got you. I knew what you meant, and I'm sure a lot of people watching and listening knew what you meant too. Absolutely, that's a trending one. If you have no idea what Fraser's talking about, scroll through Reels for a second, and you'll hear that sound. You'll see what we're talking about. But let's go with that example. So let's say you're in the travel industry. Which I want to challenge people to say that that's an industry. That's not your niche. Travel is a big, broad term, right, Fraser? Because like travel for Fraser is different than travel for Brock, which is different than travel for my parents. Like, I would much rather stay in a tent in some forest, and my mom wants to stay at a 5-star fancy hotel, you know? So everyone's travel is a little bit different. Also, are you helping people traveling with families, traveling on a budget? Are you helping people who are backpacking, luxury travel, Mediterranean travel? What's the travel? Get specific with that niche. And then there's so many things that you can do to help people out in that niche. So you could give them tips for traveling on a budget. You could give them advice for traveling with kids. You could give them packing lists. You can give them reminders. You can give them the do's and don'ts of whatever your specific niche is. You can always offer education around that niche. And I think that's a big thing that people are missing out on with Reels, is they think it's just goofy, pure entertainment, purely dancing, purely, lip syncing and viral trends. But you can actually pack a lot of educational value into those little quick videos and reach a ton of new people from it.
Yeah, one of the things that I really wanted to talk about in this strategy of Instagram Reels is how, because I love Instagram Reels for the kind of the lip syncing, the miming, or whatever you want to call it. And one thing I've noticed you do, because guys, again, we mention this a lot, is consume on purpose, consume creators that are crushing it with certain things and just model what they're doing. And I've noticed that a lot of people meme or they lip sync the exact words, but you have leveraged the kind of the subtitles or leveraged the captions. And there'll be someone saying something that's relevant to something, is relevant to something else, and you put the captions to kind of those words. So it's very hard to explain what I'm saying, but I think you know what I'm talking about here. How are you finding those reels go? Because I think they're flipping genius. I think they're hilarious. I think they're so fun. I think they're so creative. Like, are you seeing that they're working well because they're relating the whole, the lip syncing, the miming, but then you've got the captions on there and the engagement's high because people are watching it 3 or 4 times because they're like, oh, what did that caption say? How are you finding it going?
Yeah, exactly. So that's kind of the way that I create most of my reels. And a lot of my reels, I create them with the intention of kind of setting an example that you can use this same sound that I just did and recreate it with your own spin on it, put your own niche into it, put your own version of it. And so to give an example, today, the sound I used was like a woman ordering some drink from like McDonald's. And then there's a long pause. And then at the end, the person at the cash register says, a sausage McMuffin, which is like, the joke is like the person misheard you. The person didn't get the message. That's the gist of the sound, is like there was a miscommunication there, or someone didn't give you what you wanted. So I put my own spin on that. And rather than making it about placing your order at McDonald's, which has nothing to do with what I do for a living, I made the first part, like a business owner asking for the things that they want. And then at the end was the random creepy guy who's sending you a message on Instagram, because that's not what we want. Like, that's the miscommunication. And so that's just one example. But yeah, like you're saying, Fraser, what that helps people to do is they hear the sound first. And that's the sound that they've heard over and over again. And it might be funny. It might come from some popular video. So they recognize it. There's a piece that instantly draws them in. But then they're seeing how I'm doing my spin on it. They're like, wait, how does this apply to Instagram? How does this apply to marketing? And so then they're watching it a second time. And then they're like, wait, I want to watch it a third time so that I can fully read the subtitles, because maybe I missed 1 or 2 words here or there. And then before you know it, someone's watched your video 4 or 5 times, and Instagram tracks all of that. So if Instagram sees that people are watching your videos over and over again, they're going to reward you for it.
Yeah, and it's like the YouTube algorithm, right? With video-based content, is the percentage viewed is the key, right? Click-through rate and percentage viewed. So when people are scrolling, they stop. Oh, you're getting rewarded for people stopping and watching. Then you're getting rewarded for people watching multiple times. What's your goal when you're doing a reel? Is it for someone to Do you prefer them to like? Do you prefer them to comment? Do you want them to try and share it to their story? What's like what's your goal when you sit down and create an Instagram reel? And because you're very creative. A lot of your reels are, although they kind of link into the same thing, they're all very different. There's not really, even the angles or, they're all very different. And you have the creative mind, you've got the creative muscle, but a lot of people don't. So what would you say is yours and maybe your recommendation on the kind of the outcome of doing, 30 reels in terms of like a call to action or comment or something?
Yeah. This is a great question, Fraser. I would say this: all forms of engagement on Instagram are counted pretty much equally. If someone likes your post, they comment, they save it, they share it, all of that is counted pretty equally in the algorithm's eyes. There's no one form of engagement that is going to hack the algorithm or anything like that. A lot of people have suggested that in the past. Ultimately, though, my preferred form of engagement is a share, because a share directly leads to more people seeing my content. So for example, in today's reel, I asked people to share it to their story. What that ensures is that anyone who watches their story is now going to also watch my reel, and those views do count for me. And if people find it funny and they click on the reel, now they not only have viewed the reel, but they've discovered me and my content. So my preferred form of engagement is a share. But let me say this, Fraser, and I appreciate the compliment about my creativity and how all the reels are very different.
Sure.
That's intentional. I want to do what's called pattern interrupt. I don't want every single reel to look the exact same. I don't want every single reel to have the exact same call to action. Because if at the end of every single reel, I'm telling you, save this reel, eventually you're going to get bored. Eventually you're going to be like, I've saved enough. I've saved 50 of this kid's reels in the last 3 days. I don't need to save anymore. So sometimes I'll change it up. Sometimes I'll just say, like this reel. Sometimes I won't say anything. Sometimes I give my audience a break and I don't ask anything of them. And sure, that reel might not perform as well. It might not get the best engagement, but I'm giving my audience a chance to catch their breath before my next post, where maybe I am going to ask them to share it to their story or tag 3 friends or something like that. So it's very intentional to interrupt the pattern that they're normally seeing.
And I think it's gold. And it's such a thing that most people just, especially when they're in the network marketing space, they've got a product to sell, a product to promote, a service to promote. They focus on more about what they can get out of it instead of what they can give. And what you're basically saying here is you let the content be the most important part. Yes. And if it's good enough, it will convert anyway. If it's good enough, people are going to watch the next one. And if you do 10 reels and it's no call to action, no call to action, 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 no call to action, call to action, no call to action, you mix it up, and then people are like, okay, right, I like this kid, I like this dude. That's real smart. So, mate, I appreciate you sharing this with me. It's massively, massively appreciated. And what I'll do away from this interview is I'll just do a little real quick tutorial as well, so people can kind of understand how they can do their first Instagram reel. All right, thank you very much, Brock. That was incredible. It's so much fun to learn from people around the world. He's absolutely smashed it using Instagram Reels, as well as the people who he teaches as well. So obviously I couldn't just stop there with Brock. So in the All Access Pass, you'll be able to hear on the 3 main things I do with him, what to do with your hashtag. So a lot of people are just like, hashtag, what's a hashtag? What do I do on my hashtag? So he gave an exact hashtag strategy. After you've posted the reel, what does he do? Where does he share it? Where does he go? How does he get more people watching it? And how did he get his huge breakthrough with Instagram Reels? So if you want the All Access Pass, which includes the lifetime recordings, if you want the All Access Pass that gets the behind the scenes interviews, and if you want the social media bootcamp, my newest course, then make sure you go to fraserbrookes.com/all-access-pass. I'll put the link down below so you can check that out as well. So throughout that process, you might have been thinking, yeah, this is great, I love the theory, but how do I actually do an Instagram Reel? Well, I'm going to actually go ahead and show you. So I'm just going to show you my screen right now. Let's get that working on here. There we go. All right. Let me show my screen now. Okay. So I'm on Instagram. Very, very simple. There'll be a couple of different options of how you do this, but the main one, I'm going to press the plus sign in the top right of my screen. Okay? Now along the bottom, it'll say, you've got post, story, reels. Okay? So, I'm on reels right now. Now, in order for me to do it, there's one thing that I've got to make sure I do. I press this little thing here. It says 30 and it'll go to 15 or 30. Some people will have the option to go 60. I haven't got that option just yet, but I'm going to do 30 for this example. And all I'm going to do is I'm going to press and hold this bottom button, right? And I'm going to speak. So this is an Instagram reel that I'm doing right now. It's good if you can make it entertaining or engaging, emotional, educating, and that's that, right? And you can see across the top, you've got this little scroll bar. So now I'm going to change the angle. And I'm going to talk about it here, right? And I'm going to talk some more, and then I'm going to change the angle again. Jimmy! There we go. Jimmy. And then that's it. So if I was to preview it, it would then show the reel. I can then add some text on here. Tip number one. Tip number one, right? Put it here. Then you'll see across the bottom it says tip number one. If I click on that, I can then actually change the amount of time or where tip number one actually appears on that video. Okay? And then I can add another one. Tip number 4. Tip number 2. Okay? And I can put that one here. And I can change when that one's on. And so on and so forth. Once I've done it, I can press share to. I can write a caption. I can use hashtags, again, what Brock teaches. I can change the cover photo to something, a little hack here, to something that's a little bit more kind of a, what's going on there? There we go. So I'm going to use the cover of me with Jimmy in the background celebrating. It's actually brilliant, that one. And this is what I think is really important. Make sure you press share to the feed. If it's turned off, it won't share to your news feed. It'll only appear in your Reels feed, and you'll miss out on some views there. So turn that on. Tag people, so tag me, tag yourself, and tag whoever else is in it. And then crop profile image. This just means that because it's a vertical video, we want it to be like that. It could just have my eyes and Jimmy dancing, or it could just be my eyes and Jimmy's knee. But like this with like what looks like a disco ball in the background is pretty cool, right? And then when we press share, it would then share to the Reels. If we press save as draft, what you'll find is in the Reels section, you will have all the Reels that you've posted, but you'll also have the drafts, and I've got 2 drafts. Which means if you're feeling creative, you're feeling inventive, you could go onto the reel that you saved as a draft, right? For example, this one, and share to Reels. That's it. That's it. So that's simply how you do Reel. And obviously, if you want more tips, the All Access Pass with Brock, the All Access Pass will share that. We'll share that information with Brock as well. All right. So for me, I'm a big fan of Reels. I think there are 3 types of posts everyone should be doing on social media every day. Reels, stories, and also lives. Now you might be thinking like lives every day, like geez, that's a lot. But once you get good at them, once you get confident at them, I promise you, you will just get better and better. And the better you get, the more people see that, the progression, your energy, and also people are just going to tune into you. They won't be able to help themselves watch the live or watch the replay. Live video or video-based content is the best. Instagram have recently come out themselves and said that they're switching from a photo-based platform to a video-based platform. Google own YouTube, video-based platform. Facebook, they love video, they love lives, video-based platform. Again, it's all moving to video. TikTok, it's all video. Snapchat is mainly video, right? It's crazy. So we have to leverage video-based content. So what I want to do is I want to move into our next speaker, our next interview, our next strategy, who's a friend of mine over in the US. She's absolutely crushing it in her network marketing business. When I met her, she was doing all right. She was growing and she was kind of going up and down, up and down. I did an event for her and her team. And now as an inner circle member, she's been able to grow to crazy heights. One of the top leaders in her entire company. She leverages live video in such an incredible way with her awesome brand. Her energy is epic. I cannot wait for you to learn some Facebook Live and live video strategies from my friend, Tina Joy Carroll. All right, Tina, so how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Amazing, amazing. Hey, I've not seen you for some time, so it's absolutely incredible to see you here. Your energy is like 5 times higher than it usually is as well. So that's something to celebrate, right?
Well, you know, when you work on you, it really does build your confidence in a way that I never dreamed possible. So that's what's happened.
It's funny. Most people don't put themselves on their to-do list.
No.
They have all these things to do, but they don't put themselves on. And when you put yourself on the to-do list, wonderful things happen. So, hey, you're someone who I admire, not just because you are so consistent and dedicated to your brand. You live your brand as well, which is one of the keys to it, right? But you leverage social media and you leverage live video in such a great way that it's able to help you generate leads, make sales, and obviously build a team. How long ago did you start getting into live video?
In 2016. I know there was this challenge and I was so nervous. I was in my car and I wore my sunglasses because somehow my sunglasses made me invisible. And it was a disaster. The camera was looking at all the wrong angles. I had like 4 chins. It was bad. But I did it, and that was kind of my start back in 2016.
And since then, I love that, by the way. And since then, like, what have you started to do on a consistent basis to help build your business using live video?
Well, here's what I understood then, and it's definitely still true today, was I would see people come into this industry and they would be up for like 30, 60, or 90 days, and then they would just like flake off. And so I understood if I could just outlast those people, I could have success. And so that was true with live video as well. And while we as network marketers think that a lot of people go live, our friends who aren't in the industry, they don't see a lot of people going live. And so I understood if I leveraged that, it would give people an opportunity to get to know who I was, get to know my personality, because it just translates different on video than it does in text.
Yeah, that's for sure. And I always thought that. Like, I remember when I started going live every week on a Tuesday, 9 p.m. And it was super slow to start with. And I remember like episode like 9 weeks in, I remember thinking, you know what, if it doesn't get to like 30 live viewers or 40 live, I can't remember the number. I think it might be 50 live viewers. I'm just going to pack it in. And looking back, I'm thinking 50 was flipping good. Like that was a good effort. And now I look at it, I'm thinking like, wow, I'm so glad I didn't stop. So do you have like a framework or like a structure that you kind of think, right, it's Tuesday, it's Wednesday, it's Monday. Oh, I've got a thought. I'm going to do this, right? It's going to be introduction. It's going to be the content, and it's going to be like a call to action. Or do you just kind of go, nah, I'm just going to put something out there because something out there is better than nothing out there. Like, what's your thought process with that?
So I used to, in the beginning, when I didn't have any type of plan or guidance at all, I would just go live, and it was completely random. But then I changed that completely. And I wanted to be intentional with my time on social media. And I wanted to deliver a message that was going to make people laugh. It was going to inspire people. It was going to, get people into action in some way. And so I definitely have a format that I use. I introduce myself at the beginning of every video. The idea is that your video would eventually get shared and you would meet people that you didn't know. And so introducing yourself is important. I always say what I'm going to talk about first after I introduce myself, so that those people jumping on will say, oh, is this for me or is it not for me? Right. The other thing is having a really good title is super important, because I know that we only have a few seconds to get people to stop. And so the title is really, really important. And typically when I have a video that doesn't do well, I go back and look at my title and I'm like, it was the title because the content was good.
Yeah.
Right. And then I make sure to smile and thank my viewers for jumping on. You know, I don't necessarily say, oh, share this. I just say, if you know anyone like your mom or your sister or your best friend that could get value from this, make sure you let them know. Like, I just remind them of people that they know that they could get to jump on that. And then the other thing that I do is I say, you know, I let them know that it's going to be generic content. It's not company specific, so that people that are in other opportunities don't feel like they can't share that, you know, content with their people. And I'll say, make sure you get back in touch with the person that invited you to watch this, just so that I'm just keeping it very clean and the integrity super high.
Yeah, I absolutely love it. And you know, you triggered something with me with the, because I do the same thing. And I remember I got a bunch of people at some point, maybe in like 2016, 17, saying, why do you keep telling everyone what your name is? They know. They've watched all your videos. They know what your name is. And I remember thinking, and I let them get in my head for a little bit, because my start is, hey, everyone, Fraser Brooks here, coming to you live from wherever. And the reason why I tell people where I'm coming live from, because a lot of people are like, well, it doesn't matter, because I travel so much that after a while, it's like, hang on, where the flipping heck is he? How is he able to do that? Which is kind of fun. And for those of you who have got a travel schedule coming up, I highly recommend saying where you're from and then go live every time you're in a new because people, they just assume that, you know, wherever you post content is wherever you're living your life. So it's kind of fun. It's kind of fun how that works. So I also love the bit you said about that you remind them, like, of someone they might know who they need to share it with. So many people don't do that. Like, so many, like, for example, I'll say, share this with a network marketing friend or family member who would get benefit. So what are you going live about? Are you talking about Disney? Because, guys, for those of you watching, you might know that Joy Carroll is a big fan of Disney. And I've had the chance of going to Disney with her, which was so much fun. But I don't even know how long ago. It felt like it was not that long ago.
2019.
You're joking. Coming up to, like September 2019, something like that. So around
August. Yeah.
August. There we go. August. So wow, nearly 2 years ago. That's nuts. So what are you talking about with this kind of structure of introducing yourself, telling what you're going to talk about, give it, you know, good title, good delivery, reminding people to share. What are you specifically talking about?
So first of all, I don't always have my best ideas at the best time to go live. And so I keep a section in my phone, the notes section of my phone, live ideas. And so when that idea comes to me, I'll just jot it down really quickly in that, and then go later and elaborate the notes that I want to say with that. So I just want to give you that, because oftentimes we think we'll remember something and you won't. So have a place where you can immediately put those notes, right? Where you can keep those thoughts on paper. But no, I'm not going live on Disney at all. Disney is just the power of association.
Right.
And so if people are thinking of Disney, they're thinking of me. And I don't really know many people that don't think of Disney, at least some point, right? And so, but what I'm really going live on is people like to follow a journey. And so that journey changes with me all the time, right? So right now, the journey that I'm on is I'm getting ready to have some surgery, and I'm sharing that journey via live video with people, because they'll jump in and they'll follow that. And then when I do go live about my products, or I do go live about my opportunity, they're definitely more inclined to tune in, because I've given them value so many other times and didn't ask for anything in return. You know, if I'm reading a really good book, I started doing a book club, and I would go live with the book club, and we would go through the book live. And while there wasn't like a ton of people on live, so many people were in my inbox because they were getting so much value as we talked about what we were learning from these books, right? So there's so many different things that you can go live on. I just feel like network marketers get stuck in thinking they can just have to do it about their products and opportunity. Like, right. If you are a great cook live. If you sew live. People are interested in your life and what you do, and you can teach them things that they might not otherwise have known.
We're living in a world now where, and maybe it's different around the world, but in the UK, when I was growing up, and I only realized this, like, I don't know, maybe 18 months ago. So Saturday night for me was usually round at my grandma's we would have fish and chips. For those of you who don't been to the UK, fish and chips is a big deal, especially on the weekend. Friday night, Saturday night, fish and chips. And we used to have our fish and chips probably like 6 o'clock. Be 6:30 by the time we're done. We'd then be sat on the sofa with my pops, my gran, my grandma, me and my brother with the dogs around. My mum and dad were out building their network marketing business. Surprise, surprise. But we loved it at grandma's. And we used to put the TV on, and it was Saturday night TV. So Gladiators was on at 7 till 8. Then like a dating show was like from like 8 till 9. And then from like 9 till 10, there was something else. And if we were lucky enough, we got to watch 9 till 10. We were given a little bowl with like 4 or 5 chunks of Galaxy chocolate. And I remember we used to be glued to the TV. We used to love it. I recently went to my sister's house with my 2 nieces Saturday night. We're watching TV, but it's Netflix, right? We get to choose the channel we watch. They're on their iPads watching YouTube. And the big realization that I had was, you know what, people aren't watching it. People aren't watching the TV. People aren't watching what people are telling them to watch. People are watching other people's lives now. So I love that you said that. So if you were to do 10 lives, how many of them are like your journey, your thoughts, like value, and then how many are like product business, would you say?
Oh, easily it would be 8 would be just value driven, just the journey that I'm on or something that I'm reading, 6 tips for weight loss or something that's unrelated to me selling a product, right? At least 8 of them. And 2 would be very broken up. So there may be one in the beginning that I might do like, and when I say an opportunity, I do more of like interviewing other people than just talking about my own success, right? I interview other people in my organization and I literally talk about this teacher came in and I do that kind of thing. And then really, I don't do a lot about my products live anymore. Every now and again, if we're doing a sale, I'll hit them really hard with one, but I do a lot of my products in my stories because I get insane results doing that.
And I think that's where it's at now. I think give value on your main feed so that when someone comes to you, they're like, oh wow, yeah, she's great value. I love the interviews, and then obviously products and the stories. So what would you say is your main goal when you're going live and there's 5 people watching, 10 people watching, 30 people watching, however many people watching? What would you say is your main goal? Is it to get them to comment? Is it to get them to share? Is it to get them to reach out to you? What would you say is your main goal?
Okay, so first I want to say this. When you were talking about the number of people watching live, I don't want anyone watching this to get addicted to that. Yeah. Because if you get one Tina Joy Carroll to watch, it could change your life, right? If you get one person that really wants this, so just don't be tied to that. Don't be. I know some people that are insanely successful that get like 10 live viewers, but they're still insanely successful, right? So what I really want them to do when I get them on is I want them to engage some way, somehow, so that I know that they're there, right? So I'm going to ask leading questions throughout the live and I'll point my fingers down like this while I'm live to give them oh, she wants me to comment, right? Because literally people do what you tell them to do. And if you don't tell them to do anything, they'll do nothing. And so I just like to just gently nudge them and tell them, and I'll point to the comments. And the way that I would remind myself of this early on, because all of this just didn't come natural, right? I literally had little Post-it notes that I had all around my ring light that said, remind them to comment. Don't forget to say your name. Don't forget to thank the viewer. And I literally had them all around my ring light just so I wouldn't forget to do the things until it just became natural and a habit.
That is so, I'm writing that down. Use reminders. Post it as a reminder. That's so fun. It's funny actually. One of the biggest things I believe everyone should do who goes live consistently, and not many people do it, is get people to, as you said, direct. Click the 3 dots in the top right hand corner. A pop-up will appear, and make sure you press turn live notifications on. I'll tell you guys now, you're going to get this kind of breakthrough thing that I kind of started doing. One of the reasons why I get a lot of engagement on my posts, whether it's live or a normal post on Facebook, is that I just, for a long period of time, got people to just turn notifications on. Whether it was for lives or my posts, and every time you go on, for a lot of people, they'll go on social media, and whether I posted 5 minutes ago, an hour ago, 5 hours ago, a day ago, my post will be at the top of their newsfeed. Not because of the algorithm, but because they turn the notification on, and not many people know how to turn it off. So which is super important. Hey, Tina, you're amazing. I massively, massively, massively appreciate it. And thanks so much for hanging out and dropping that gold with everyone.
Thank you for having me. I just absolutely love doing this with you. And I can't wait to see you in person again. It's been forever. It was 2019 when I seen you last.
It's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you so much, Tina. That was amazing. It was great chatting to you as well, and it's so cool to see your rise and your growth and the leadership and the team that you've been able to create. A lot of which from live video. So one thing that Tina spoke about and really kind of caught my attention was that she interviews her team to help launch them or to help expose or get more exposure to her product, her service, her opportunity. So what I actually did is I did another interview with her. You can get access to that with the All Access Pass, where I actually share with her how she does it, how she decides who to choose, what steps of the interview she takes, and how to effectively do it so that you can actually get more leads, sales, and team members as well. So for those of you who got the All Access Pass, you're going to be able to get that right away. If you haven't got it and you want the All Access Pass, again, I've put the link down below here, fraserbrooks.com/all-access-pass. Probably should have chose a better and easier link, but I'm not going to. Right, so we're going to go to that link. All right, let's move swiftly on here. And before I do that, I just want to let you know, live video has had such a huge impact on me, my business, my brand, my personality. And to be honest with you, my biggest weakness was speaking in front of people. Whether it was one person, 5 people, 100 people, 200 people, 1,000 people, 2,000 people, even doing a video like this until recently, like if I was walking around like Moscow or Dubai or Liverpool or London or whatever, doing this in front of people, biggest fear. But because of live video, I was able to realize, you know what, if I can be confident in front of a camera, I can be confident in front of other people. And I was able to do that. And for those of you who have got the fear of public speaking, whether you go bright red when you speak in front of people, I've been there. And I'm telling you, live video, you have to do it just for the courage and the experience and the confidence that you're going to gain. All right? So let's move on to our third interview of today, which is with a real good friend of mine, Mr. John Melton. John and his wife Nadia are based over in the US, and they're absolutely crushing it. Multiple 7-figure annual incomes in the network marketing profession. Just think about that sort of money. That is absolutely crazy. And I asked John, I said, John, like, we're doing this content and conversion summit. I'm interviewing people on a content strategy or a conversion strategy that gets more people to join. He said, I've got a perfect conversion strategy for you, where we leverage group chats. And I was like, all right, cool. So what, like a 3-way chat? He said, yeah, but this has a little bit of an extra flavor on it. So I want to take you over and I want to share with you this amazing interview with Mr. John Melton. And after, I want to share with you my thoughts about it, as well as one other strategy that I'm going to share with you. So let's run the interview. All right, John. So how are you doing, buddy?
Living the dream, man. I'm excited to be here.
Well, you always have better lighting than anyone else on social media. And it also helps. These teeth that I'm seeing, like, come on. He's not stopped smiling since being on the conversation with him here. Like, come on, bro. That's just like, I can see my face in those. Those are some good, those are some good quality gnashes. So for those of you who have never heard of John Melton, you probably new to the industry of network marketing. The dude, along with his wonderful Russian wife, who I can relate to a lot, Nadia, they're just one of the best couples there is in the network marketing space. Completely crushing it, completely smashing it. And I'm going to tell a story, John, before I want you to kind of take things over here. I remember me and John connected a few years back, and I basically messaged him saying something like, "Would love to connect with you further. Are you free to jump on a Zoom?" And he basically come back with, "No." And I was like, "Oh shit, okay. Ouch. That really, really, really hurt." And basically, he schooled me in such a great way. He was like, "I don't have the time. Don't have the time to sit on a Zoom call." And he was sending me photos of him on the Stairmaster and all this. And since then, I don't just do Zoom calls either. And I've got a massive thank you for you for that, because I needed that to happen in my life. So when we were chatting, I was saying, hey, what kind of content or conversion strategy would you use? And you mentioned group chats for closing. How does that work?
Yeah, great question. Well, first of all, you're the man. I appreciate you. And I love that you put together this summit. I think closing is such an advanced skill, but it doesn't need to be, right? Like, people overthink it. I always say it's like an art and a science, because you could talk to 10 top earners, 100 top earners, top producers, and they all have a little bit of a different way they go about, quote, closing people. But I also think a lot of it has to do with the experience, doing it over a sustained period of time. And you get to the point where you just feel very comfortable asking the closing questions. You feel very comfortable asking people if they're ready to get started, what they would like the next step to be. But I think we can also appreciate, I've been doing this almost 20 years. I'm coming up on my 20-year anniversary. And I know in those early years, those early days, I was an overthinker. I had analysis paralysis. I didn't know what to say or how to say it. It's like we forget to speak human. But I'd never been in sales before. I'd never been in marketing. I'd never done anything entrepreneurial. So I used to build offline back in 2001, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 for like a decade. But in those very early years, we did meetings. So we would bring our guests to a briefing. They'd sit through the presentation. And then afterwards, we would introduce them to other people, right? Because we would build the rapport and obviously would get to know the person. But because we were brand new and we weren't documented, they used to always say, documentation beats conversation. Well, when you're not documented and you don't have that much belief and confidence, you want to earn while you learn. So I would get myself out of the way. I'd bring over my upline. I'd introduce my prospect to multiple people. They used to always say that if you introduced your prospect to 5 other people, there'd be, much more likelihood of them joining. So we'd be like, okay, I can't let them leave until they meet 5 people, not 2, not 3, not even 4, 5 people minimum. And if it was more than 5, that's just bonus, right? That's icing on the cake. But I learned very early on to get myself out of the way and leverage experts, have other people share their testimonials. And, the interesting thing is a lot of us would kind of say the same thing, but we would all have our own unique perspective and way of doing it. So I learned early on to get myself out of the way and introduce my prospects to other people. And even if they were sidelined, it didn't matter. I just needed them to meet some other people, build up their belief. And then we started building via 3-way calls years later, when I was doing home meetings all the time, PBRs. And that was a really trying time because I was out every night doing meetings. I was on the road 24/7. And then when I wasn't in a meeting, I was on the phone doing 3-way calls. And I must have done thousands of 3-way calls. And it's interesting because even if I crushed it, like body slammed it, like best 3-way call in the history of 3-way calls, it's not recorded. And like the person might not even join. And the problem is I'm a talker. So I might be on a 3-way call for 30 minutes. Maybe they join, maybe they don't, but you're either duplicating that bad behavior. And I know some people are going to watch this and go, hey, how dare you? I teach my team to do 3-way calls. Look, if you like them and it's working for you, and you're duplicating it, go for it. But what I found is a lot of my leaders would get burnt out. I got burnt out. I'm on the phone 24/7. It's like I'm wrapping up a 3-way call and I got 3, 4, 5 more 3-way calls to do. And it's like I'm trying to eat my lunch. I'm trying to go out to dinner with my wife. Like I have no freedom. So we basically started using Facebook Messenger to get to the point. We started using Facebook Messenger back in 2012, 2013, before like anybody was really using Messenger. I started sending out audio clips when it was like taboo. People were like, what is this? Did you get hacked? I'm like, press the play button. And then they hear my voice. They're like, holy cow, how are you doing this? Right. And it's funny how times have changed. Like every platform now has audio. And, anyway, long story short, I would essentially put my prospect in a chat with other leaders. So it's the same thing as a 3-way call, but everybody could respond at their own time. And now we got this thing so dialed in. So as you know, we use the ATM system. We teach people how to create curiosity and create conversations on social, and then add them into a group, tag them in a video, tag them in a post, whatever. And then what I do, and this is still today, like literally today, I ATM'd a prospect. Okay.
I love it.
And I told her, I said, Kelly, listen, I'm going to add you to our product group and I'm going to add you to the business group. Tomorrow, when I follow up with you, I'm going to introduce you to some other leaders on my team. Now, for those of you watching, you don't have a team, use your upline. If your upline sucks and they're unsupportive and they don't do group chats and they're never on Facebook, you can't get a response, grab some sideline. I've heard that objection so many times over the last 5, 6, 7 years. Right. Grab sideline, brothers and sisters. That's what my team does a lot of times, so they can meet other people. And this is what I do. I just did another group chat yesterday. I put 5, sometimes 3, sometimes 4, but a lot of times it's 5 other social marketers on the team, because I want my prospect to meet other people. And at first, I will be honest, Fraser, I thought that would be overwhelming. I thought I would overwhelm my prospect. I thought that's too many people. And by the way, you still might get some people that get overwhelmed by that. Some people just get overwhelmed easily. But most people, they're like, wow, I love this positivity. And here's the other thing. Everybody kind of responds at their own time. So I might set up a group chat on a Friday, but then a couple people respond right away. A couple other people respond on Saturday, and then maybe the 5th person responds on Monday. Mm-hmm. It keeps the conversation going. Mm-hmm. Everything is recorded. Everybody is in there sharing their story, answering questions. And here's the beauty. People that get started can go back to that group chat and they can see exactly how we did it. They can see the simplicity. They realize that everybody responds at their own time. So you're not burning out your best people. And I will say, listen, the complaint I get is people will say, oh my gosh, I'm in so many group chats. And I don't know if we have time to get into this now, but I essentially put together some audio clips that I use over and over again. And I have some copy and paste messages that my virtual assistant, so my VA will go in the morning around 8 a.m. and she'll respond to all the group chats I haven't got to yet. And then basically what I do, if the conversation gets going and they're tagging me or they're asking questions, like the prospect is sharp, like I then take over. I'll then jump in. But typically, people are not just like living on Messenger and responding instantly. So they're put into a group chat. A couple people respond right away. A couple people respond the next day. I pop in there. I pop out. It's so crazy how effective this is. It's increased our close ratio significantly. It's decreased the burnout. And you're more efficient and effective. I like to talk. I could talk about this ish all day. I could be on here for 2 hours, but that's not efficient. That's not duplicatable. Most people don't have that much time to get on the phone. And here's the truth. I didn't want to get on the phone with you, mostly for 2 reasons. One, I didn't know who you were, and I get hit up all the time. Hey, can I pick your brain? Hey, can we hop on a call? But number 2, I talk too much. So I always say, and I hate to say this, but I'm just spitting truth here. If someone hits me up and they want to pick my brain or they want to talk or whatever, if it's not something I'm interested in, because, a lot of people want to pitch me on something, right, and the other half just want to get free coaching, free advice, I'd rather just chat on Messenger. And then if they are a prospect, then I'll get on the phone. Then I'll hop on a call. Then I'll have a conversation. But guess what? As soon as I'm done that call, I'm putting them in a group chat. I want them to meet other people. It's simple, it's duplicatable. And here's the other side effect. This is my favorite part. My team sees me leading by example.
Yeah.
They're literally like, damn, John is doing group chats with me. I should be doing group chats with him, or maybe my leaders. And I'm putting all these sideline top earners on my team in the same chat together. So now they're all doing chats with one another. And most of the time, I hate to admit this, they don't even add me to the chats. They only put me in the chats with the big fish. So I say all this to say that I think if you're doing three-way calls or Zooms, I wouldn't just stop it altogether, but start adding this to your repertoire. And I think you'll see that your close ratio will increase. And it's just such a more efficient, more duplicatable way to build your business. Mm-hmm. So you're not having to sacrifice what's most important. And that's your time with your family, or, doing the things that are most important. And not just that, you can focus more on money-making activities and setting up more group chats and responding to more group chats versus doing the 3 calls.
But you've also got the benefit of when you grow internationally, especially for the guys on Europe here. Like I can't speak French, but
right.
I can go on Google Translate and convert my text into French, or I can do English and they can copy that message, put it into Google Translate, and now I'm building a business in multiple different languages in multiple different countries, right?
Great point.
Using the same process. One of the things you made me laugh, because when people say to you, John, you got 5 minutes free. And it's like, free? What, so you think my time is free? Like, right. And it never lasted 5 minutes. It ended up lasting 45 minutes. And all the other calls you've done. And I'll never forget as well when I've been sat there waiting for three-way calls. And then 2 minutes after the call should be happening, the team member would reach out and say, oh yeah, they just told me they can't make it. And I've told my friends, I've told my girlfriend at the time, I've told my parents, I've told them, like, hey, I can't go out. I've got a three-way at 8 p.m. on a Saturday night, and it could be a big one. Like, come on. I love this. So I've got a question for you then.
Yeah.
How do you establish the 3, 4, 5 people that you put into the group?
Great question. And I know you already know the answer. It's people I think they would relate to, right? So I get a lot of women in my business. A lot of the women are maybe in their 30s, 40s, 50s. Maybe it's a woman on the West Coast, and I've got some West Coast leaders. Maybe it's a woman with teenagers, and I'm going to put some, boy moms or teenage moms or, Canadian moms, like whatever, right? Like I'm trying to identify people I think they'll relate to. If I get someone that has a lot of network marketing experience and they got MLM PTSD, I'm going to grab some other leaders on my team that experienced MLM PTSD, and they're going to say why it's different and why this is better. If I get a fitness professional, guess what? Introducing other fitness experts and people with a nutritional background and people that are, personal trainers, right? So it makes sense. If I get a dude, now I'm a dude, obviously, but I might introduce some other dudes like, oh man, you remind me of this guy and this guy. Let me introduce you to them. And I think it's a no-brainer to identify the person's personality, their background, where they're from, what they've done, and then introduce people that would relate to them. And again, it doesn't have to be someone from your own team. Is it nice when it works out that way? Of course, especially those of you that are leaders that have big teams. But a lot of times when you're brand new, it makes sense just to add your upline. And again, if your upline isn't all that responsive, or they just don't really use social, grab some sideline brothers and sisters. There's definitely people that, number one, you could work with as an accountability partner, do chats together and be a story. That if you have people, you kind of mentioned different languages, right? Like if you're talking to someone that speaks French, it's ideal if you can find a way to speak their language, obviously. If you have people that are, police officers, or they have a military background, or again, they're from a different, part of the world, it makes sense to find someone they would relate to, because now you're, quote, speaking their language.
Yeah, and it's gold. And would you when you're talking about different platforms, now obviously a lot of attention is going on to TikTok and onto Instagram.
Yeah.
Facebook group messages, group chats are like a very, everyone knows how to do them, new group, add.
Yeah.
Do you do the same thing on Instagram? The whole, whole group chat? So it's same process, same idea, same concept.
I don't like it as much because obviously we use ATM, right? But I mean, yeah, we do a lot of, I would say for every, like 100 Facebook chats, I'm in like, 5 Instagram chats. So not that many, but definitely, yeah, we have chats on both. TikTok, I don't think does group chats yet, but I'm sure at some point when that comes out, we'll do them for sure.
The messenger on TikTok, I would say in general, sucks anyway.
Yeah, so not the best. Not the best.
I've loved this. I take notes on everything. Like I take notes so viciously that it's basically a transcription. It's just how I roll. It's how I've grown up. So I massively appreciate you sharing all that knowledge. You really do.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so thank you so much, John, for the time that you took doing that interview. It was super great to pick your brain and also learn that. Now, I think that strategy is super amazing. And some of you might be thinking, yeah, but I don't have a team. I haven't got anyone to do that with yet. Perfect. Here's the thing that I'll tell you. Whenever you're learning things like this, especially when it comes to like the more leadership level stuff, I want you to start thinking about, I am so excited to be able to have the team one day, to be able to implement this with, because they're going to know nothing else and it's not going to be new for them. It's not going to be a change, right? So you're going to be able to start the business as you mean to go on with them. For the people out there right now who've already got a team and you're thinking, this is a great idea, this is something that's going to get your team excited. And I want you to write this down if you're making notes, and I hope you are making notes, is the goal of a network marketing leader is to make the boring exciting. Because everyone gets bored. Consistency can be boring. Doing the same thing day in, day out can be boring. So you've got to spice it up. You've got to make it a little bit different. And this strategy that he shares is just so great. So obviously we couldn't stop there with John. I decided to ask him more about how to actually start the group chat. What do you actually say? Like, what's that first message? You add your prospect in, you add team member number 1, team member 2, team member 3, and then team member 4, right? And then you're like, oh, what do I say now? Is it, hey everyone, take it away, Bob? No. There's a certain thing that he does and says, which he shares in the behind the scenes interview, which was super cool. He also, let's just make it out here. Yeah, he also said he did like a little contest to incentivize people to get these group chats going as well, which was real good. For those of you who are leaders, you're not going to want to miss that. And for those of you who know you're going to have a team coming up, you're not going to want to miss that too as well. So again, I've left the link. The link should probably just be across the bottom here anyway. FraserBrooks.com/all-access-pass. All right, so here we go. Last strategy for today. We've heard from Brock Johnson about Instagram Reels, Tina Joy Carroll on Facebook Lives, John Melton on group chats. I hope you're getting value so far. I know, it's crazy, it's free, this is nuts. And if you haven't already done so, please feel free, if you're watching this and you're thinking, I wish my team were on this, they can still register. They won't have much time to watch day 1, but they can still register and get access to day 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 when the time is available. They just need to go to FraserBrooks.com/summit. FraserBrooks.com/summit. If that link doesn't work, then it means that they're not able to register right now, but they should be able to right now. All right, last strategy for today is a very simple one. And it's a posting strategy that you should do once every 30 to 60 days, and I call it the Reintroduction Post, right? The Reintroduction Post. Now, you do this on Facebook and on Instagram, and it's going to go something like this. Number 1, take a selfie. Whether it's you and your kids, you with your dog, you with your family, you traveling, whatever it might be. A recent, current one, right? Or you can go to a throwback, right? An older photo, right, where you need to address that. So, step 1, take a photo. Step 2 would be you saying, hey, I know, hey legends, I know that over the last 30 to 60 days, I've had a lot of new friends. I've had a lot of new friends here on Facebook, or I've had a lot of new followers here or connections here on Instagram or LinkedIn, whatever platform it is, and simply say, I would love to let you know a little bit more about. I'd love to let you know a little bit more about me. I'm a wife of 3 kids, or a single mom of 2 boys. I enjoy traveling, boom, boom, boom. Basically tell some people about you. Maybe there's even an embarrassing fact, or what your top book is, or your top tip, or your favorite quote, or something that people can go, ah, all right, I'm a mom of 2. Oh, I love that book. I love cooking. I really like playing tennis. I love golf. Oh my God, Moscow is my favorite city, right? Oh, I love Italian food. It doesn't have to be war and peace, but you're just going to say like, hey, I know I've had a load of new followers, or a load of new friends over the last 37 days, 45 days, 60 days, 30 days, however long you want to do. I want to let you guys know a little bit more about me, as I can't wait to get connected with you. I am, and then label some stuff that you obviously makes you. And then at the bottom have a call to action. Every post should have a call to action. You're going to hear about that in the coming days. But every post should have a call to action. The call to action would be, I would love to know what your blank. So if you say like what your favorite book is, I would love to know what your favorite book is. If you say what your favorite city is, you say what's your favorite city. If you say what your favorite food is, what's your favorite food? Make it very, very simple for people to answer. Now here's the thing. Content is king, but engagement is queen. So when you start to get people engaging in this post, you created the content to get the comment, and now you need to start to reach out to those people to see if they're open enough to take a look. And when they take a look, you can then go follow up with them, and maybe you're going to get a yes, a no, or a maybe. If you get a maybe, you need to turn that to a yes or a no using some strategies. All right? So now, if you want to go another level, if you want to go a little bit deeper on that, don't just make the post on your feed, on your news feed, do a story version of it. So hey, it'd be something like this. Hey legend, super excited. Hey legend, if you're watching this right now and you're new and we've just recently connected, I want to say that I'm super excited to get to know you a little bit more. I thought I would just share a few things a few things about me, blah, 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 blah. I love this, I love this, I love this, I love this. Using the questions box here, I would love to know what your favorite quote of all time is. I would love to know what your favorite movie of all time is. Bang. That's it. So you don't just put it on your newsfeed, you put it in your stories as well. The whole idea is you create content that gets engagement. Content is king, engagement is queen. So go ahead and do that. Here's my dare for you today. I want you to do one of either 3 options. I want you to either do your first or next Instagram reel, or I want you to do a Facebook Live, or I want you to do your reintroduction post. Right? Following that. One of the dares, for those of you who got teams, you could do a group chat as well, but that's quite a new strategy for you to implement right away. So, Reels, Live, or reintroduction post. Now, we're going to be back day 2 tomorrow. Here's what I will say though. If you are loving this content and you're thinking, oh man, I need to watch it again and again and again, but I'm running out of time, I haven't got enough time to watch it, you need to get your all access pass. Right? Now, what is the All Access Pass? I'm going to mention it a lot because I promote things that I believe in. Not only are you going to get access to the recordings of this summit for life, you can review whenever you want. It's going to be relevant for a very, very long time. You're also going to get every single behind the scenes interview that I did. It's 15 to 25 minutes each person that I did, and I'm telling you, the depth we go into with the scripts, examples, and questions that I ask. I'm someone who I've interviewed many people, obviously, on my podcast, and I know exactly what people are thinking in their head. Like, I want to ask this person that. Imagine if you could ask $1 million income earner, a top performer, a generic coach, international speakers, the questions that you would like to ask yourself. It would cost you thousands of dollars. I do it for you. And the last thing, so you're going to get access to the recordings for life, you're going to get access to the behind the scenes interviews, and then the last thing is I actually recently recorded here in my studio in Dubai, I recently recorded a new social media bootcamp, which covers the social media setup, social media lead generation, the social media scripts that work, and then a content strategy on how you can create your own content calendar, a masterpiece with like a social media funnel, right? If you want all of that for a ridiculous affordable price, then you need to take advantage of it right now because it ends very, very soon. It's fraserbrooks.com/all-access-pass. There you go. Go ahead and do that. I cannot wait to see you on day 2. Go ahead and complete that dare, one of those dares that I shared with you before. Tell your friends about the summit and feel free to use the Facebook group if you're able to access it, and share what your biggest bingo moment was, your biggest lesson learned, or your biggest takeaway from today. All right? See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.